Welcome to the Swan Story YouTube channel. I'm Mark Swan.
I'm Barb, and this is Polly.
Before working on the furnace, we want to make sure that it's off. So in our control panel, we're going to go to the HVAC setting and make sure that neither the air nor the furnace is on. So everything is off. Next thing we want to do before working on the furnace is making sure that the propane is turned off. So we have two tanks. Gonna turn them both off. On our Fuzion 429, the exhaust for the furnace comes out the side near the front. And so we know the furnace is inside our storage compartment. So to get at it, we need to remove some screws and get these panels out of the way. And now with our panels pulled back, we can see the furnace in here. And I'm always careful when I pull the panels back that I don't put any stress on the wires. I don't want to cause any more problems. The third safety measure we want to take is to turn off this switch on the furnace itself. It says off and reset. We want to make sure it's off. My furnace is held down by two screws. You can see one right here on the side, and then there's one around the back on the far side back there. So I'll have to crawl up in here to get that one. The other thing to notice is that the copper gas line comes in. We will have to take that off right there, and that's why we turned off the propane tanks at the source so we don't have any gas flowing in here. So now with the two screws removed, one here, one around the back on the far side, and the gas line disconnected, we can ease the furnace out away from the exhaust port and then turn it so we can have access to the sail switch. So here we can see the sail switch right there that we're going to be replacing. That's good. So this is our furnace assembly. You can see the cylinder that the fan is inside. This is our old sail switch. I've already taken the screws out, one here and one over on the other side. Now the sail is sticking up vertically inside the cylinder, so we just need to angle and pull it out. And we need to take these two leads off so we can install the new sail switch. So we'll just take our needle nose pliers, push off that connector, push off this one, and now we can replace our sail switch. So here we have our new sail switch that we're going to install. And on my installation, they had a double blue wire that was connected to the top and the single to the bottom. So we're just going to slide those connectors on, and you should be able to hear an audible click when they're on all the way. There was a little click. Now we'll do the bottom. There's another click, and they're in solid. So now the sail switch goes in vertical. So angle it just a little bit to get inside the hole. And then we've got screws here and on the other side to put in, and then we're done. So now that we have the new sail switch in here, we're going to push our furnace unit back into place. And if you can see down here, the exhaust port tube has to fit inside the tube that's in here. So I may have to wiggle the outside of the exhaust port just a little bit to get that tube to line up, and then the furnace will slide all the way against the wall. And we'll know when it's all the way in when our screw holes line up. So there, the furnace is all the way forward. And we can see right down here our screw hole is lined up. So that's where it was before. So we're going to put this screw in, the screw that's back here, attach our gas line, and then we can test it. So now that we've got our furnace unit back in, our fuel line is connected, we're going to press the reset side of that switch, turn on the propane, and go turn on the furnace, and we're going to come back and listen to how the furnace lights. So there's the furnace fan coming on. There's the flame igniting. Staying lighted, which hopefully means that our old sail switch was intermittently opening and closing that connection. So now we have a solid on flame, which is what we want. When you turn on your furnace, the sequence of events is that the fan will turn on, the sail valve, the sail switch will activate, and that tells the furnace that it can light the flame. The failure situation that we heard was that the fan would come on, run for about 10 seconds, and then turn off, and never try to light the flame. That's an indication that the sail switch is failing. If you look closely, you can see the sail switch in there mounted on the side of the fan housing. When ours was failing, one of the technicians that we had out to take a look at it simply reached in with a long screwdriver and tapped on it. And that was enough to set it free, and then our furnace worked. It wasn't consistently working, and so that's why we're replacing our sail switch. We're going to demonstrate the furnace being turned on. And if we're lucky, the sail switch that we have in there will fail, because it does periodically fail. And we'll hear the fan run for about 10 seconds and then shut off. If the sail switch is working, then after a few seconds, the furnace will light, and we'll hear that happen as well. Here's the fan kicked on. You can hear the flame light. So the current sail switch is working. You do hear the flame cut out periodically. We don't know if that's a problem with the sail switch or not. It could be a problem with the ignition. And there it lights again. In our experience, after 2 or 3 attempts at lighting, it will stay lit. But again, we don't know if that's because of the sail switch or some other issue. So what we want to do is try to diagnose whether our old sail switch is intermittently working, which is what might be causing our flame to go out and reignite. And so I removed the sail switch from the housing of the fan and just brought it out far enough that I can activate it with my finger, and you can hear it again, the switch activating when I press it. So now we're going to go turn on the furnace. I'm going to leave the switch out, and we're going to hear the furnace run for a while and then shut off because it cannot safely light the flame. There, the fan is turned on. The sail switch is not active, so the circuit is not complete, and the fan will shut off because it's not safe to light the flame. So now we're going to turn on the furnace again, and I'm going to manually cause the sail switch to activate, closing the circuit and allowing the furnace to light the flame. And the fan's on. I'm going to push on the sail switch the same way the fan would. I'm going to hold it. We're going to hear the flame ignite. There, the flame ignited. I'm going to continue holding the switch to see if the flame goes out. So what we had before was intermittent flame igniting and going back out again. So it's possible that our sail switch was connecting and disconnecting. So far it's staying on the entire time. So we're going to put the new sail switch in, see if it acts any better. I disconnected the switch itself, and you can hear the flame turn off. A sail switch is a simple mechanical device to create conductivity between these two leads. And when the circuit is completed, the furnace knows that it can turn on the flame. Our sail switch is mounted vertically in the fan assembly, and when the fan is active, it pushes on the sail and causes the circuit to be completed between the leads. And if you listen, you can hear the switch actually activate. So now to prove how the sail switch works, I'm going to connect my multimeter to these two leads and activate the switch, and the multimeter will beep when the circuit has been completed. So with the sail switch open and the two leads connected, the circuit is not complete. But when the fan blows on the sail, it completes the circuit and the furnace can light. This is our old sail switch. When we were comparing the old switch and the new switch, to the naked eye you can't tell any difference, and this switch actually does function just fine when I hooked it up to the multimeter. However, when we were doing research online, we came across a quote by an RV tech that goes by the name of A1 RV Traveler, and this is what he wrote. The 2017 to 2019 Dometic Atwood furnace has been experiencing some problems with sail switches not staying closed during furnace operation. This has been especially problematic with furnaces mounted vertically. A new sail switch was introduced that has cured the problem. This is how I troubleshoot. Remove the sail switch and bracket from the furnace and leave all the wires connected, which is what I did in a previous part of this video. Have someone turn on the furnace. Once the motor starts, close the sail switch with your hand and keep it closed. If the furnace ignites and runs fine, the sail switch needs to be replaced with the new style switch. And that's what we think was happening with our old sail switches. It was not maintaining contact. He goes on to say the new sail switch comes with a modified bracket to allow the sail switch to travel an extra 1/32 of an inch. Seems odd, but this cures the problem. The actual sail switch is not bad, just not staying closed during operation. This only applies to 2017 to 2019 Dometic Atwood furnaces with straight blade sail switches, not the angle bent sail switches. So that's what we believe solved our problem. This old sail switch is slightly different than the new one, and the new one is staying closed when the furnace is in operation, and we no longer have an intermittent flame. Thanks for visiting our channel, and thanks for watching our video. If you want to see more of our videos, please hit the subscribe button right down there, and you'll get notified whenever we upload any new videos. Thanks for watching.